Hello and welcome back to Dukascopy TV HQ. I'm Natalie MacDonald. Up next in the studio, I'm joined by Benoit Carpentier of the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies. Benoit, thank you very much for coming in today.
Pleasure.
Now, the IFRC first published a report on the humanitarian impact of the economic crisis in Europe. 4 years later, and we're still tackling that crisis. Can you talk us through the report and its findings?
Yes, it's a report that has taken place over the last 2 years. So the latest figures were end of 2012, because we've seen on the ground that our national societies, which are working with their volunteers on the ground, helping people, we're seeing more and more vulnerable people coming to seek for support, help, psychosocial support, food. So we thought that there might be something very interesting to study and see how that works. So the main findings are that we have more poor in Europe than what we had 5 years ago. There are new poors in Europe, which are basically people that work but that don't make enough for having kind of a normal life, I would say, or to pay for their food or to pay for their health care. Another finding would be that people are migrating more within Europe or outside of Europe to find work or to try to find a better way of living. One of the other findings would be the health problems, meaning that a lot of people, because they don't have enough money, start to pull out of the health system, which is a big problem for us, and we see more and more people seeking for health support. So that would be, in a nutshell, the main findings of the report.
Since the first report, there's been a major increase in the amount of food aid as the crisis deepened. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Well, we've for the first time last year, one of our national societies, the Spanish Red Cross, actually had to launch an appeal, a national appeal to fundraise to be able to distribute food aid to people, which was the first in Europe. We have other national societies like Bulgaria or Latvia that are distributing food. We see a lot of children don't get food, so we have again the Spanish Red Cross and Bulgarian Red Cross, for instance, that are distributing food breakfast for kids who are not getting food at home when they arrive at school. So it's really increased because we have again a lot of people that have reached or crossed the line of being able to provide food for their children or for themselves, and that has led to a huge increase. We've distributed 3 times more food in the last 3 years, 75% more food in the last 3 years, sorry, than in the last 3 years. So that's quite enormous.
Coming up to 2013 then, and this latest report, and it calls unemployment a ticking bomb. Express to us your concerns regarding the personal and social consequences of high youth unemployment at present. I mean, are we at danger really of a lost generation, would you say?
We don't like that term, so we don't use it because it's quite negative, and we're trying to, and that's why the report is calling for thinking differently. So we're trying to engage people in having a positive mindset more than thinking we have a lost generation. Unemployment is a huge factor of social problems. It could lead to violence, it could lead to people getting out of the health system because they don't have money for paying for it. So they can't pay for their children's education, or they can't pay for. So unemployment is one of the root problem that we need to tackle quite quickly.
You mentioned there the think differently idea, and that really is the fundamental core of the report, is to think differently and to act differently. Clearly there are amendments that need to be made, reforms that need to be made to educational systems, to labour systems, but where else do you believe are important areas to evaluate?
Well, it's going to have to be a collective effort. unfortunately, it can't be only governments, it can't be only humanitarian organizations, it has to be partnerships, corporates, private sector, helping and trying to find innovative ways of sorting this problem. They're not one solution, there are plenty of little solutions. It comes from very low key level solutions to high governmental decisions that need to be made. But there is definitely a big shift in mindset that needs to be done, because we can see that it's not really progressing very well.
Lastly then, in 5 years' time, do you predict that we'll still be seeing fallout from the economic crisis?
It's very difficult to make predictions. What we see is it will be very difficult for people to recover, and it's going to take a long time, this we know. It's also because the resilience of the people is being put at risk, because it has been going on for a long time, so it will require a lot of time for them to recover, to get back on their feet. A lot of them have financial problems, so it's going to take a long time.
Benoit, thank you very much for coming in and sharing your insight in these key items with us. Thank you. That's all we've got time for right now, but thank you very much for watching, and join us again soon. Goodbye for now.